All right, welcome back, algebra students. So glad you can join me in my living room. And we're going to do our second lecture, which is on Unit 4, Lesson 2. And our objective is that students will be able to multiply polynomials. Now that we know what a polynomial is, right? It's just a it's a multi-termed, it's an expression with multiple terms. How about that? All right, so I want to kind of show this to you visually to start off. I want to start off with this rectangular grid here. All right, so we learned way back in elementary school that the way that we find the area of a rectangle, do you remember what the formula is? Well, hold on to that thought. All right, so let's take a look at what is the length of this rectangle. Well, we can find the length simply by counting up the squares. All right, so I have 1, 2, 3, 4 squares here. So my length, I'll just call it 4. Okay, 4 inches. I don't give any units there. Okay, my width or my height is 1, 2, 3. Okay, so this is a 3 by 4 rectangle. Now there's two ways I can find the area of this. The first way is I could count up all of these squares. That's the hard way. All right, well, let's try it. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So this would be 12 units squared, right? Because each of these units is a square. Okay, that is, it wasn't too hard because I didn't have very many squares. But what if I had a rectangle with hundreds of squares? It would make it a lot more difficult and time consuming. There's a quicker way. We know that the area of any rectangle is length times width. All right? So if I know my length is 4, I know my width is 3, then I know, as long as I know my multiplication tables, that my area is 12 square units, which is exactly what I got when I just counted up the squares. Okay, so pretty simple. This is area. We're using the area of rectangles to figure out. I could find my area if I know my length and my width, or I can find my length and width if I know my area. All right. So let's bring it on over here. Now we're going to use the same concept with polynomials. All right, so first of all, we have this large red square. Right? And I'm just going to call the length of this red square, I'm going to call it a length of x. And since this is a square, this length will be the same. So if this is x, that means that this side will also be x. All right, this is an x by x square. Okay, now look at these 3 black rectangles. Now, what do I know about the length or the height of that rectangle? Well, I know that the height of that rectangle is the same as the height of this square, right? And the height of this square is x. So that means I know that these all have a height of x. All right, now, what we're going to call this width right here, we're just going to simply call that 1. All right, this rectangle has a width of 1. I just kind of made that up. All right. So if this has a length of x and a width of 1, what is the area of that rectangle? Well, that's 1 times x, which is 1x. All right. So we're just going to label that as a 1x. Okay. Now, if this has an area of 1x, or just x, this also has an area of 1x. And this one also has an area of 1x, because it's just simply 1 times x. right, which is 1x. Now how about these little green squares? What do we know about them? Well, we know that the length, or the width here, is the same as that width of that rectangle, correct? So we know this is a 1, and also this right here is also a width of 1. So we get a 1 by 1, 1 by 1. So what's the area of that square? Well, 1 times 1 is, you got it, 1. And so both of them have an area of 1. Okay. So now let's see if we can, oh, I forgot one thing. The area of this red square. What is the area of that red square? Well, it's got a length of x and a width of x. So remember, area is length times width. So x times x is x squared. All right? Just like 2 times 2 is 2 squared, 3 times 3 is 3 squared, x times x is x squared. Okay, so now let's see if we can figure out the total area of this entire rectangle. Okay, so we have x squared here. How many x squareds do we have? Well, I only see one. Okay, so I'm going to write x squared there. Okay, now how many 1x's do I have? Well, I have 1, 2, I have 3 1x's. So what's 1x plus 1x plus 1x? You guessed it. It's 3x. All right, and then I got 2 1's down here. What's 1 plus 1 is, of course, 2. All right? So, by the way, that's a 1. And that's a 1. Okay? So this is the area of this entire rectangle. Okay. Now let me show you how to do this with numbers. All right? This is just kind of a way of seeing it visually to help you kind of get your hands on it. Okay, but normally we're going to do this numerically. Okay, so let's go ahead and write this problem out. Okay, if I want to figure out the area, I just need the length and the width. Okay, so what is the length of this rectangle, of the whole thing? Well, I have x plus 1 plus 1, which is going to be x plus 2. All right, so I got x plus 2. Okay? Now I have to multiply that, the length, by the width. So I'm going to put that in parentheses because this whole length is going to be multiplied by this whole width. All right, so what is my width? Well, I have a length of x plus 1. So I have x plus 1. Okay? So this is length times width. If I multiply those two together, I should get the inside area of this entire shape, which should be x squared plus 3x plus 2, right? Let's see if we get that. Okay. So we have, here's the key. The key is distribution. You want to distribute every one of these terms into every one of these terms, okay? So we're going to start with the x. Let's distribute that x to that term there, that first term over there, and then we're going to distribute that x to that second term over there. All right? So now we got x times x is x squared. All right? Now we have to distribute this x to the 1, right? Because all of this is being multiplied by all of that. So x times x is x squared. X times 1 is 1x. All right? Okay, but we're not finished, right? Because I have parentheses here, which means that both of these needs to be multiplied by both of these. All right, so now I need to distribute that 2 to both of those terms. All right, so I have a 2 times x, which is 2x. And then I have 2 times 1. 2 times 1 is 2. All right, so now you'll notice that I have some like terms. All right, so right here, 1x and 2x are alike because they both have the same last name, right? They're both x's. By the way, x squared is not a like term with these x's, okay? Because this is a different degree, isn't it? This is a second degree. These are first degree. You can't combine first degree and second degree terms. All right, so let's go ahead and combine these, okay? So x squared, there's no like term with him, so we're just going to leave him as x squared. Okay, 1x plus 2x is 3x. And then the 2, he does not have any other like terms either, so we're just going to leave him as 2. And so that's going to be our final answer. Did we get the same trinomial? We sure did. We sure did. So the key here is when you're multiplying two polynomials, just simply distribute every one of the terms from the first set times every term in the second set. All right, I hope this was helpful to you. Make sure you practice on Khan Academy. This will help you really, once you kind of get the feel for how to do this, it's really, really simple. All right, until next time, and God bless you.